certainly I would say that the pace is pretty rapid, and there is this actual, I would observe this bifurcation in the role. So, and you sort of see this with companies that we work with. We have some that are just right on the cutting edge of AI, and in whatever vertical they exist in, whatever part of the world they exist in. And what you're seeing though is that their growth is just off the charts. It's phenomenal. It's, the valuations that they're attracting are kind of, just impressive. But then you also see on the other side of it, like the organizations that are maybe a little bit behind the curve, a little bit slower. And that's where the bifurcation is, so you're there. There's definitely some struggles there. There's probably, don't have a crystal ball, going to be some carnage in the next number of years, some companies that are just left behind. But then you're also going to see the ones that accelerate, just keep accelerating, I imagine. And that's, so yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I mean, it's maybe the pace change is a bit different. And I think there's probably some trepidation that exists too. I mean, I certainly had conversations, read a few papers on this too, about how, like, we don't really know, and maybe there's some who do, but I think most don't really know exactly what the world's going to look like as far as this goes in the next, 5 to 10 years. But the trepidation probably lives inside those who think, oh no, my job is going to disappear, my profession is going to be disrupted, and that probably will happen. I guess it will happen. I belong to a profession where that is probably near the top of the list of ones that might get disrupted in that sense. But again, just back to that foundational principle piece is, I've never really understood this idea that people get afraid of change and that we should slow it, or we should, unless it's going to be something that's reckless or like nuclear proliferation or something like that. But that we should slow it or cease it, or turn the clock backward. It's just not how the world works. And so those of us who decide that even if my job is disrupted somehow, that there's going to be some other circumstance in which I can live a happy, productive life and build a successful career. To have that kind of mentality that, just to find it and be open to it, I think those people will thrive. I really do. The first time we spoke, I mentioned that I was having this conversation with a colleague who is an AI scientist, and he said, I sort of remarked, I said, you know what, I think the accounting profession, it's probably 80% getting a white gold at some point. He looked at me and he said, mine too. This guy's an AI scientist, right? I said, oh, okay, well, that actually made me feel a bit better, to be honest with you. I thought, like, we're all kind of, feeling our way through this together, and life will change, the world will change. None of us know exactly how, and just we need to be ready for it.